Odds are, if you're watching this video, you saw videos along the lines of top 5 millionaire habits or top 3 habits that made me successful, etc. And what all these videos tell you, the single trait they always ask you to have is to read more books. And that's because reading forces your brain to adapt to focusing on one task for a long period of time, which then also transcends to other aspects of your life, like building a business, which takes years. And when your brain's adapted to looking at a book for 2-3 hours a day, every day for a set period, okay, now building a business, because you're able to focus, because you have the mental clarity, it becomes a lot easier. And compare that to watching a documentary or looking at an online course. The reason why reading is so much more beneficial is the lack of stimulation. You're not having good pacing or a good speaker. You sit there, read the book in silence and try to absorb the information. And in this video, I'll be going through the top 3 books that have personally changed my life and I think you can massively benefit from as well. I began reading books this year in 2022. Prior to that, the only things I would read were manga and comic books, but this year I buckled down and read at least one proper book every single month from February till December. And I'll be going through the top 3 books that I gained the most knowledge and benefits from, that I think you'll massively benefit from as well. First book, Atomic Habits. Now, this book I think is life-changing for everyone, because I feel every single person either tried to work on a side hustle but couldn't quite do it. Every single person tried to go to the gym but couldn't commit, or they had something they wanted to achieve but for some reason they couldn't do it, and they couldn't pinpoint why, they couldn't build the habit. And what this book does, it perfectly describes how habits are built, how they're destroyed, what triggers your habits, how your habits are manipulated by shopping companies like fast food places and fashion companies, etc., and how what you can do to control them. And it explains the difference between setting systems that do not require discipline and why discipline is essential. However, relying on it is not really worth it, because discipline is like a stat that runs out. And the book talks about that, and it talks about the most disciplined people. They don't necessarily have high discipline, they just put themselves in situations where discipline is not required. So for an example, you've heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most you've heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So because of that, let's say you spend time with 4 people who are extremely fit. Odds are you're probably going to be more motivated to go to the gym, because now being fit or being in good physical health has become a normality within that group. So your brain, to kind of want to fit in, it begins to think to itself, oh, maybe I should go to the gym, I should eat healthy, I should probably try to build more muscle, etc. And it talks about other concepts like that and how to put yourself in environments where willpower is not required and how to utilize the willpower that humans have. Because the average person, including myself, doesn't have much willpower, so it's important to put yourself in situations where it is not needed. And honestly, it's a phenomenal read. I think it's the #1 book everyone should learn. I think it should be taught in schools. It might sound like I'm exaggerating it, but I think every single person can benefit from this book. Atomic Habits, go to Amazon, buy it, give it a read. Trust me, you will not regret it. The second book I would recommend is actually 2 books, but they work as one. It is The Courage to Be Disliked and The Courage to Be Happy. They kind of work as one duology. The book focuses on Adlerian psychology as well as some philosophical concepts, and it talks how your brain not fabricates but creates feelings to help you achieve your goal, but not in the way you want. So for an example, the book gives an example of someone who has very, very bad social anxiety, and they will not go outside, they will just get anxiety attacks, they just don't want to speak to anyone. But that person wants to go outside and be part of society, to have friends, to socialize, but they have this really, really bad anxiety. The book talks about how one of his main goals is he's going to just join the workforce, become part of the faceless masses, and just work 9 to 5 the rest of his life. So to not do that, his brain created the emotion of social anxiety, so he would not have to go outside. He would stay in the comfort of his parents' house. He would not need to go to the hassle of getting that 9 to 5 and working it the rest of his life. And it talks how, okay, you need to recognize the emotions your brains give you are just fuels to achieve your goal, but you need to also realize that it will not help you achieve the goals in the way you want to do it. So, same example, that person does not want to work 9 to 5 rest of his life and join the faceless masses. So, his brain can either create social anxiety, so he would have to go outside, or it can create a feeling of drive motivation, so he can work hard and become somebody in the business world. And it kind of speaks on where the emotions come from, how to recognize them, as well as how to kind of not manipulate but be better at controlling and using your emotions in the way you want to use them. And the book series, the sequel, Simple, the one I have here, expands on that, and I think they work very, very well together. The first book is with my sister. I gave it to her to read 2 years ago. Let's give it back. I'm sure she's still reading it. Thanks a lot. And the third book I would advise everyone to read is Discourses and Selected Writings by Epictetus. Yo, this is post-edit Mustafa. Real quick, what I found is quite funny. So one of the main themes of the book is that you do not own anything or anyone, whether be it a family member or friend. You do not own them because they can die or leave you at any moment. You do not own your house because, although it is unlikely, the house could burn down and then you no longer own it. It's no longer theirs. And explains how you do not own anything and nothing lasts forever. And I lost the book, which they're like, hey, I'm never going to lose it. It's my favorite book of all time. And little you know, I do not own it because at any point it can get damaged or get lost, as happened here. And I just thought that was pretty ironic and quite comedic in a way. Funnily enough, I actually heard of that book from PewDiePie. He used to do book reviews where he reviewed it, and it sounded very interesting, and I picked it up. And honestly, it was a phenomenal read. The whole book talks about the importance of being stoic, not just in the sense of a societal benefit, because everyone knows that you do the right thing, don't steal, blah blah blah, it's better for society. But it also talks about how being stoic is beneficial for yourself as well. Everyone knows about karma, but it talks about the mental image that you being stoic bestows upon yourself, and how to give you a level of mental clarity, as well as it talks about death quite a bit, as in it talks about how death is not a good or a bad thing, and how it's once you die, you no longer exist. And because you no longer exist, you do not feel good or bad, and because you don't feel good or bad, therefore death is not good or bad. It is simply a thing that happens. And I used to be quite scared of death, to be honest. Something was always kind of on my mind in the background. But when I read that book, I was like, actually, yeah, it makes some very valid points. If something comes around, that once it happens, I won't feel it, 'cause I won't be around to feel it, 'cause I'll be dead. And honestly, I just think it is a phenomenal read. It is quite a bit of a hard read, admittedly. And if you're not experienced to reading, I'll probably read other books first, because it requires a lot of focus. I listened to the audiobook version first, then I read the physical version, which I also have no idea where it is. I couldn't find it for this video. Might have got lost when I moved house. But honestly, if you're looking to get into philosophy, I think this is a very, very good starting point, especially for Greek philosophy in general. And yeah, that's everything. Hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions or something you want more clarification on, feel free to put it in the comments down below. If you read those books, please do let me know, and let me know your thoughts on them. Or if there are any books you would suggest that relate to those three, again, feel free to recommend them. I'd love to have a little chat, a little conversation to start going in the comments. If you find this video helpful, please do like and subscribe. And I'll leave links to all the books in the description as well. Not affiliate, not sponsored, just this year with Amazon, type the book's name and copy paste the link. I don't get any money by you pressing that link. Yeah, take care and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.